G'day everybody and welcome to Rocky Roo's Travel Adventures. And today I'm going to be talking about the death road in Bolivia, which is known locally as El Camino del Muerte in Spanish. Now, basically I guess a lot of you are wondering, what is the death road? Well, it's a road that leads from La Paz, the capital city of Bolivia, to a town about 65 k's away. And that town's called Coroiquio or something like that. And it's very famous for being called in 1995 by the Inter-American Development Bank as the world's most dangerous road. Now, it got this title because approximately 200 to 300 people were dying on this road every year. And, you know, the bank wanted to get some attention, so it could get funds to build a bypass to save a lot of lives. And an enterprising Kiwi lad decided to create mountain biking tours down the road. It's basically all downhill. Yeah, it's become really popular over the years. A lot of backpackers do it. And I've got to say, from personal experience, it was a lot of fun. But I guess the thing that everyone wants to know is the death road really dangerous? And to give you a straight answer, not really. Definitely 200 to 300 people used to die on the road every year, but in 2006 they built a bypass, and so the original road is just not used anymore. There's this much nicer, newer 2-lane road with guardrails that most trucks and buses use now. And so the old road, it's still there, and when you do the trip, you certainly use it, but it's not as dangerous as it used to be. Having said that, you can still die when you do it. I mean, in some places it's only 3 meters wide, and certainly, like, people have still died after they put in the bypass, but there's a lot less people dying than what it used to be. But to describe the trip itself, you start at 4,600 meters above sea level, and then you basically just ride downhill to about 1,200 meters around sea level. And the views are stunning. You know, you're going from, like, basically the Alps, where it's like, you know, you're seeing these huge mountains, you're seeing, like, beautiful valleys, and then you're just going through into the rainforest, which is, you know, it's just stunning views all the way. And I guess the other thing is too, it is, even though I said I don't think it's that dangerous, it's still quite a thrill, you know, to be going down this pathway, basically, and like, it's quite rocky in places too, so you're kind of going so if you like that kind of thing, it's quite cool. And I think too, you know, people like to be able to, you can always brag to your friends that, like, oh, I did the death road, which, you know, I guess a lot of people that's the reason why they do it. I guess another highlight is you get to see the dogs with the biggest balls in South America, because when you come to the end of the path, like, you'll just notice these dogs just sitting in the middle of the road and they won't move. And, you know, you'll just be going straight past them at a really fast rate, but the dogs will just be like, they just don't move. Massive balls, certainly. Now, in terms of getting around to actually booking the trip, you can certainly just turn up in La Paz and book it, which is what I did. The Kiwi guy who originally created I guess the Death Road tour, he offers it for approximately $100, and I think they have an extremely good safety record. I don't think anyone's died doing it with them, actually. And, you know, they've got really good safety equipment, good bikes, etc., etc. But if you, I mean, I actually went with a local company, and they were called Vertigo, and I've got to say I really had a good time with those dudes. And I guess the other thing you always have is you can say you have what it takes to ride down the world's most dangerous road. Just be aware that if you do fall off the side of the mountain, you don't get the t-shirt. So yeah, I paid $70 with them, and you can certainly go a lot lower, probably around $50 or something like that. But I talked to someone who went with one of those tours, and he got a bike that had no shock absorption, and so when he went down the path, he felt every single smack into the, because there's a lot of rocks on this path, so he was really feeling it through his arms, and he actually hit a rather large rock and went over the edge. But luckily he went over an edge, instead of it being a sheer drop, it was maybe 70-degree drop or something, so he fell over, but he managed to grab some foliage and stop his fall. It was also a little bit funny to find out that the company he went with took a while to notice he was missing, until his friend was like, my friend's not here. So that's something else to remember too. I guess finally, just in terms of safety wise, like don't drink the night before, don't snort any cheap cocaine the night before, and make sure you're climatized to La Paz. It's quite high up in the atmosphere, so it does take a while for your body to get used to the thin air. And I remember actually going down the road with Vertigo, and I was thinking, can we go a little bit faster? And then they just stopped and said, this is where a former client of ours got killed by passing out and going over the edge. And I was like, I guess we can go a little bit slower. And he passed out basically because he'd flown into La Paz the night before, and hadn't acclimatized to the thin air. So that's just something to remember before you begin the trip. So in conclusion, it's a lot of fun, awesome views, and I totally recommend it. Just don't snort cocaine the night before. Enjoy.